we'll say that the last thing you heard was Lambert kind of turning and asking you guys how you wanted to deal with the rest of the town. I know this looks like an outdoor, like this looks like a building you could just walk out of, but you are near the top of a very, very, very tall tree. This is just the only map I could find that had a long enough table that kind of suited what I was going for here. As you kind of peek your heads out and down the path that you came on, there are a lot of scorched turtles on the way up that all had like spears in their hands and things like that. You get the feeling that the Warforged and the Inquisitor had to fight their way up here, which might be why it took them a while. But essentially, the path is littered with bodies. The town is on. Nobody really appears to be like rushing the upstairs as of yet. They're all just kind of in panic mode at this point. I'll say you can pretty clearly see that from where you are.
Maybe we should just try to get out of town. How many of us are here? Is all of us in this building? Are we the only ones left?
Holbert takes count and nods in your direction. There were a few others. I was told they never made it to town. I would assume that got picked off in the swamp. So, yeah, the ones here, we're all that's left.
I don't want to have to fight our way through all the turtles. Look at Vol.
Do any other?
Do you think they're gonna fight us too?
Friend, do any other turtles look that we can see from up here? Do they look hostile? Any of the other living ones?
They don't appear to be fighting in the streets or anything like that. They're sort of just like pulling bodies off of palisades and checking on people and things like that. The longer you linger, there appear to be a group of them kind of getting ready, grabbing spears, looking like they're about to march up here. They're pretty far down, though. I would say honestly, you probably wouldn't even be able to see that, but we'll say that you just barely can see the ground where this has happened.
It looks like time might be of essence. I see more readying spears. I prefer to calm them down with words possible, but we probably go.
And when your words eventually fail and I just pull out my swords, that's when we'll be ready.
Maybe I'll go up front with you, Vol.
Bybar kind of pipes up. I don't mean to speak out of turn, but we do have one of them among us. He's just a little predisposed at the moment. Maybe hearing the news from him would be better. I don't want to talk to your friends, though. And he looks at Clipper and then looks over at the Warforged. I'm a little bit, I think I'll wait right here.
Oh, it's okay. They're with the church. I'll go talk to them. I'm gonna go, I guess go just, walk up here.
Okay.
What's going on over here?
Yeah, they do that like stereotypical two pikes crossing thing when you get too close. The Inquisitor is busy.
It's just that we need this guy to help defuse the situation outside.
The Inquisitor is busy.
But they're getting spears ready. It's kind of time. Look around at the people. How many? It's urgent. Look over at that lady. Is she? Can you help with this? Can you get him?
She kind of steps over and leans towards the Warforged on the right. Look, I agree with them. We should at least bring him out here, find out what he knows. I understand the Inquisitor's time is important. She kind of just looks at him. The one that she speaks to actually turns and walks and closes the door. After a moment, the door reopens, and two of them come out, and they head towards the stairs. Threat. This one
What?
stands resolute.
What
The
does that
Inquisitor
mean?
is-
Are they gonna just like go shoot people? What does that mean?
Talk.
Why don't they
That's what
use
it
more
sounds
words?
like, yeah.
I'm pretty sure that was cute that they're going to murder them all.
Yeah, I think with that, Vol's gonna try to crush right through this lady into that room with the Inquisitor. I think he's taking all 600 pounds, being like, we're doing our
Sure.
peaceful
Yeah.
plan first.
The lady will step out of your way. There's no reason to. But
No, I mean, he's gonna push his way through. No, he's not gonna trample anybody. He's gonna try to
Sure.
push his way through.
let's
get to the
have
guy.
you make an athletics check or something like that to kind of throw yourself against the door.
Why is strength my worst, big boy?
Oh yeah, you easily pass the pike that was extended, and you basically come crashing through this door. You see the Inquisitor kind of standing. I'll move you into the room here. You see the Inquisitor kind of standing over top of this turtle, who is in the seated position on the ground. And when you burst into the room, the visored helmet just sort of raises from him and looks at you. The Warforged behind you kind of like scrambles to pick up the spear that you knocked out of his hands, and then turns to the Inquisitor and said, "Apologies. They seem preoccupied with the situation downstairs."
And that guy's name was Alku Tasthorin, is that right? The old guy? I think that was it.
Yes.
Uh,
You could just refer to him by his title of Sage if you'd like.
Okay.
we need the Sage before your Warforge cause more unnecessary bloodshed. We need him to come with us quickly.
She makes no movements or says no words for a moment, and then kind of raises her right hand and just pushes air towards you twice. The Warforged immediately comes into the room, grabs the Sage by the shell, and kind of drags him out past you, unless you try to stop him. And once he's out here, he'll release him.
Yeah, if it just looks like he's taking him out of the room, I thought I might kind of stand to the side and think that we had been victorious.
Yeah, for sure. Now that this Warforged is out here, the other two are kind of looking back, him confused, so they all come back home for a minute to decide what they're going to do.
Is the door still open when all that's happening?
Once the third one comes in, he does close it.
Okay. Was the Inquisitor like just watching us or like doing anything as our friend was brought out, or like?
I mean, you would just see her standing, but she, you can't see an expression on her face. You can't tell what her eyes are doing. She's fully armored, fully visored.
Yeah. Like she's just still. She's not like turning her head to watch the
Right.
bowl or anything. Okay.
Completely resolute. She just kind
When
of waits.
right before the door closes, I want to send the Inquisitor a message, and I'm just going to say, "I'll let you know if we need you."
Whoa!
Holy shit! Oh my god!
The toot on this dude.
There is no response.
Holy
Busy signal.
During that, I'd like to use my divine sense just to see if they're weird, but I'd also like to pay attention to what symbols, what holy symbols or whatnot are they portraying? Are there any?
Yeah, so what you would see on the crest of the armor that she is wearing, kind of in the center, right where like a necklace would hang, like where a pendant would be, is the wheel that represents the high table, which is essentially a multi-spoked symbol that represents the 5 major deities of this religion, which I have a full breakdown I can give you guys soon. But you would recognize it as where your god Niena is considered like almost like a regional god, or a less. Everybody who is in Boletaria would know of the High Table and the gods that it represents. So again, I have a wiki article that's almost done that has all this information in it, and when it does, you guys will have access. When it is done, you guys will have access to the wiki and be able to read up as much as you'd like on the religion.
But
I
no
linked
demons for my
the-
divine sense.
Yeah, your divine sense. And what was that, Perry?
Oh, and those who fight Discord channel, I linked the like the basic, the rings with the general. I don't think we have names for the deities yet, but kind of a
Yeah, I've got a bit more than what's here, but not much more. Pretty much, that's the. Oh yeah, okay. Yes. So there are names for them, but essentially this is the symbol that you would see. It kind of looks like the Olympics thing, but obviously in the armor it's not colored. Each one of those represents a different deity.
But the 5 circles all kind of clasped together is the symbol of the high table.
I totally forgot that we made that, or you made that. Good job.
Wait, are there 8 deities or 5?
So there are 5 major deities, but there are several that are considered regional, lesser-known gods. Essentially, the idea is because you are So the history of the country is kind of you are a conglomeration of, quote, free republic that were once independent of one another. One of the things that pulled you all together was this religion where your minor gods or your regional gods were still acknowledged with the acceptance of this upper echelon pantheon, essentially. Every town you've been in has had a church that is dedicated to the worship of the high table. Several of the towns you've been in have had smaller shrines and things like that are, some of them churches, but are dedicated towards some of these lesser gods. Lesser in their opinion, maybe.
The feeling is mutual.
Yeah. Just don't tell them that.
Hey.
But yes, so you would notice that iconography. The divine sense goes off without a tick. There is no, because Brand is gone. Yeah, Brand poofed out of existence. He got blown up.
Yep.
So there is no sign of any celestial or fae or fiend or anything like that.
Everything's good then.
Not that you'd know what some of those even mean, but yeah.
I don't really know what she'll tell me. I just know she has some divine sense, and it told me the witch was bad.
Hey, it's like it's the paladin thing. It's like, I forget I have these. I need to fire these off.
Constantly, I have 5 of them.
Jesus. Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead.
Question. So the clip that I found in Clipper, was that, you said that was like a different kind of metal and like a different kind of construction. Did these Warforged seem similar in design in any way?
Let's have you make a... Oh boy, what kind of check should you make?
Some sort of smithing check.
I would say you could either roll like an investigation check or a Arcana check.
Okay, well, she doesn't know shit about Arcana, like, character-wise, so...
Okay.
Boop.
Yeah, that thing that you tucked away in that lead box definitely bears some resemblance to the type of metal you've seen embroidered on these Warforged, particularly like their armor plating, as opposed to the core components that make them up. Like, you get the feeling just by looking at them and with that high of a check that if you could strip away the extra armor plating that they have, they wouldn't look too dissimilar from Clipper. Made more of wood than metal.
Interesting.
Good question.
Okay. I need to think about that for a bit.
With that said, your sage kind of stumbles out here, Vol. He is in your care. Yeah, go ahead.
Can I ask him, Sage, can you go down the path and talk to the other turtles? They seem to be gathering and picking up spears. If they don't stop, these machines or whatever the creatures are going to kill them all. Please, I know these are your people and some ill sense has come over them. Stop them before they all die.
Yeah, he nods at you, and actually kind of takes a moment to stumble back over here and pick up the staff that he had dropped before. You see the Rear Admiral kind of like, her eye kind of twitches when he picks up the weapon again. He says, "Of course. I think it would be best if I went alone. They know me. I know the people of this town. Yeah. I would say wait here. But you're all going to do whatever you'd like to do."
If you hurry, you could.
He's like, "That's a great idea. I'll hurry." And he moves slightly faster than like the slowest person you've ever seen.
Can I attempt to sneak around just to see if I can see what happens in case things go south?
Oh yeah, you want to stay like a decent distance behind him, like trying to stealth behind him? Absolutely.
Yeah.
For sure.
If you can keep up with that pace.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I know, right?
He's gonna dash.
I'm gonna put my hand on the Admiral and it's like, don't worry. I'll keep an eye on them. And then
Yeah, she'll nod in your direction, and then we will say that. Oh God, did you get deleted? No, I didn't. Yeah, so we'll say that you're able to kind of follow him down the path. With the 16, he certainly doesn't notice you. He's fully focused on what's going on in front of him. It's going to take you guys a while. Like, it took you almost an hour to climb to the top of this tree. So with him going down and people coming up now from the bottom, it's about a half hour or so before the forces are met in the middle. The turtles who are rushing up have not even begun to make it to the line of charred bodies that you saw near the top. Several turtle, wielding spears kind of defensively over their own corpses. You're not sure if they would have been the attackers or the defenders, or if they were with Vol, or if they were with the Marquisette. It's hard to tell, but it's a pretty grisly scene, just like the room that you just left. You probably pass another good 24 dead, which strikes you for a moment because there was not a scratch on any of those Warforged. Eventually, you all kind of meet in the middle, but sorry.
I do have one question.
Mm-hmm.
Just for the sake of my message, how far away would I be from the top? Would I be more than 120 feet?
Yes, significantly.
Okay.
Yeah, so the time kind of passes. Let's get you to roll one more stealth check. I don't think he's going to notice when you kind of meet in the middle. I just want to see if it's possible for them to spot you. Okay. Yeah, I mean, they don't have a shot. You're going to have advantage on that stealth check because, you're far enough away and everything, so you're essentially a ghost at this point. You see them kind of meet in the middle. You're close enough to hear them talk. The old man raises his hands and explains that there's been a terrible tragedy, that the Marquisette has betrayed Alan Mere, that there was another that was here who may have corrupted her, that there have been many casualties, and that there are wounded who need tending to. It's important that everybody stays calm. You see a lot of reaction from the group that has kind of pulled up asking about how many dead, who is dead. The Marquisette, I can't believe should do that. We need the Queen. There are all sorts of uproarious comments and things like that as they sort of hash out the differences. The ones who are holding spears in anger and in panic have begun to kind of holster them, and they do this thing where they kind of like put their hand behind the sage's neck, and he does the same, and they kind of touch foreheads for a moment. It seems to be some kind of greeting of peace. After a few moments, they will all kind of slowly begin to lumber back upstairs.
It's at that point that I as soon as I see them coming back up, I'm gonna make my way faster than they do.
Sure.
And I'm just gonna I'm gonna message when I get within range. I'm gonna message Allegor. I'm gonna tell him that they're coming up and they seem to be.
Oops, it's the wrong map.
Oh no, we're back here. They're making us clean up. Who is gonna clean up this mess? No, I'm just kidding.
Eligor, do you share that with the party?
Sure.
All right. So Eligor lets you all know that they're coming up here, and the situation seems to diffused. Eventually, they make it to the top. It's probably a good 30 minutes. We'll say almost 20 after Rorik gets back up himself. That they eventually kind of make it up. They let themselves in to the room. There's a lot of, sadness. There's panic. There's weeping. They appear to recognize some of each other, and there's almost no hostility here. I mean, there are some angry turtles, but nobody's reaching for weapons or anything like that. It's pretty grim. It's pretty somber as you all kind of let them take a moment to really absorb what happened here. With that, they will start to clean up. Holberg and the Rear Admiral have, as well as Lambert, would have kind of separated their dead from the other dead, not in a sign of disrespect, but more for, we'll take care of these ones, you guys take care of your own kind of thing. The Rear Admiral looks pissed. That's the only thing I would say for anybody with that passive perception above like a 14. She looks furious. Everybody else is just kind of dealing with what's gone on. The bishop appears to be out of shock, at least for the most part, and has begun kind of issuing final rites to the deceased. The turtle will gather up their dead and kind of carry them out of the tree. At which point, your NPCs will begin kind of doing the same. Whether or not y'all would like to participate is up to you.
I think I'd help clean up the...
Yeah. Rallic will help with the funeral detail.
Yeah, I think Clipper is not too scared of dead meat. Thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, Teal help. Is the Inquisitor and her buddies still holed up in that room?
Do you want to check?
I think maybe she would ask the bishop first. Like, go up to him, maybe, like, if he seems like he's done with his ritualistic stuff, and just be like, so is the Inquisitor still in there? I was curious about the design of those Warforged. They're very different from the Warforged that I was assigned to in this group, and it would be a great learning opportunity to, check them out, or talk to them, or, whatever that I'm allowed to do. You should stop me from keeping to talk. I don't know what else to say. Help.
He's looking at you with like a weird expression on his face, and he's like, "My dear, I've never seen an Inquisitor. There are no Inquisitors here. Don't let your imagination run away from you, child. There are dead to attend to. There are duties to be had. I could use a hand here." And he gestures at a body he's already kind of picked the legs up on.
Oh, so it's okay. Yep. Yeah, this is familiar. Okay. But the Warforged? Are the Warforged in my imagination?
Go ahead and roll an insight check for me. He looks at you and is like, "Is that Warforged over there?" He seems
No,
alright.
the other ones that came and saved our lives. They were we came down the stairs and they were like, "Don't worry, we have this handled."
I was traveling with a different group. I didn't come here with you. If you came here with more Warforged, I certainly didn't see them.
Okay, you've been super helpful. Thank you.
I will assist.
I will assist with these things that you need and not ask any more questions ever. Thanks.
He smiles at you. You get the feeling he's being honest with you. He has not seen an Inquisitor or any Warforged recently, except for the one that you brought.
What?
Well, with a 10.
Okay,
I can only give you so much.
I understand.
But yeah, the grim procession begins. You all work together. Perry had loaded up a disc for at least one person to be carried out, and you all kind of make your way down the tree, and it takes a lot longer than it took to walk up. There isn't a lot of talking that goes on, at least from the turtle's perspective, as you all kind of scale down the tree itself. Eventually, you reach the bottom and find yourselves in the kind of the shadow of the tree as the night really. I guess technically everything is the shadow of the tree because it was night when dinner started. So you're out here in the dark of the swamp. There are sounds of night about. There are guard patrols already moving along the decks. You would understand, based on your time in Quetzal with the Morkendi, that moving around this place or any place in the swamp at night is incredibly dangerous, so would not be advised. The Tortle have seemed to be gathering their deceased in the main hall, which is where Rallick and Vol would have first spotted the Marquisette, and Vol would have had his mark checked. Essentially, they're kind of gathering up the Tortle in one side of the room, and covering them and basically preparing to deal with that whole thing tomorrow. Holberg and Lambert and the Rear Admiral and all of them kind of take note, sort of set, stage their Fallen up nearby, not too close, but not too far away. The Rear Admiral especially kind of like puts herself between one side's corpses and the other, and then just kind of sits on the ground and kind of bangs her head back against the wall, the soft interior bark of the tree, a couple times. Not hard, but just kind of like a 1, 2, 3, 4. And lets out a sigh. Holberg assists the priest in doing any last rites. Lambert kind of storms out of the tree and steps outside onto the walkway and lights the cigar that he's been chewing on angrily for hours. It's up to you guys what you'd like to do next, but it looks like everybody's going to hunker down for the night.
I think that's fair. I am going to be making more ammunition, kind of uncharacteristically cursing. Oh wow, I didn't see that you put that note in my journal, Jim.
Which one?
The boy.
Oh yeah, you've got the boy.
That's so cute.
Yeah.
Oh, anyway, I'm going to be working on making ammo. I don't know, what the general crafting rules for that were. And I'm, talking to anybody who passes by, just keep an eye out and your ears open for insurgents. Remember, we're looking for insurgents.
I don't think you know what that word means.
I happen to have a feeling I should know what it means. It's familiar to me.
Yeah, I would say that it's definitely within your vernacular. You understand the definition of the word.
Something about my design tells me that I know something.
Yeah, I will keep my eyes out. And he just looks intently at Clipper.
That's not what I meant.
Tia will probably try to distract Clipper and take him off to the side where there aren't people. Be like, can you I have something to show you. It's really interesting. Yep, it's cool. Let's go talk over here where there aren't people.
Indeed. Hello.
So, have you been feeling okay lately?
I've been feeling a little bit more, twitchy.
Twitchy?
I feel like I just kind of snap into action a little more often now, and whereas I used to think a little harder about things before I said them, and I was concerned about how they would be perceived, but now I feel like I just know what to do. But sometimes I know what to do before I know what to do.
That's pretty cool. So you said, I mean, that's great. That's really good. I'm gonna like keep that in your file, and hopefully there will be more progress. But to really understand how much you've improved, I need to know what things were like before a little more. So you said you were hesitating and like you had to think really hard about stuff.
Yeah, it's like
What was it like?
instincts would be the word. Might I have more instincts?
Okay, so it's not like you were foggy or like you were battling with some kind of internal voice, like a conscience or anything like that.
I don't think I've ever had a conscience.
Okay, so you never like, you didn't feel ever like you had like, you know, like people have a voice in their head sometimes that
No.
like says, oh, you shouldn't do that or you should do this right now.
No, I have rules, but now sometimes things just happen before I even have to think about the rules.
Okay. So you don't remember ever having any kind of
No, I think
or
No, I don't think I ever. I worried about what other people wanted from me because I'm meant to serve and to help. But now I let my actions guide me, and I try to guide my actions.
Can I want to do an insight check on you.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah. You can roll insight, and then Spencer, if you want to let me know which one you're, it's up to you. You can either reveal that, or you can GM roll me your roll. Just do, /GM roll space
Yeah.
1d20 plus whatever your plus is, and let me know what skill it is. If you're trying to be truthful or if you're trying to deceive.
Here's what I'll say. I think that I'm not going to do like a deception roll. What I'm going to do is just an outright persuasion roll, because he's really trying to like let her know, like, regardless of whether this makes sense or whether you understand it, this is me, and it's fine, and I'm fine. Like that's what my 10 can represent. It's like I'm doing fine. And he's like looking at you with these big, full, like photoreceptor eyes, like just trust me, like holding your hand.
Oh god, so many feelings. Okay, so you like, based on this, you definitely
I
never
think he's
heard
a little
voices.
No, he's a little mixed up. I think that I don't know. Your insight might tell you like he doesn't think he's hearing voices, and I think that like if we go deeper, it might just be that he's got motivations that he doesn't understand, just like without it being something that he hears.
Okay. And this is like, is there a clear change between
I would
before
say, yeah,
we remove the clip
he's
and
been
after?
a lot more bold, like, combat-wise. He hasn't been, like, sitting, 100 feet away, like, firing. Like, he's been running up and trying to get between, enemies. And I think he's also trying a lot more to, like, instead of just chipping in with advice, he's trying to really come up with tactical information. Like, he truly believes that, the idea that that there are being seated insurgents within this nation is like his best tactical calculation, instead of him just asking questions trying to see if everybody else agrees with his idea. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay.
So, I guess based on that, Tia's gonna look around and make sure nobody is around, and attempt, I guess, she's probably not gonna do very well, but attempt to make sure nobody's around, nobody's listening. We are, like, in our own little bubble currently.
Perception check.
Oh, good.
Totally alone.
She will reach into her pack and pull out the little box she made, and just like look right at Clipper and be like, "So inside this box is the clip that I took out of you."
Uh-huh.
It was doing more, I think, than just inhibiting like your speed and your. It was like, I ran a couple tests on it, and it seems like it was like transmitting information in some way. I'm not sure if it was transmitting information or commands to you, or like making you into a spy, but it's gone, and I hope there's nothing else like that in you right now. If there is, then I'm like legit terrified right now. But like this is scary, and I feel like we need to check you more and make sure that everything is okay.
I don't think now is the best time, but I'm happy to provide a full diagnostic. I'll print it out for you right now.
Any predators that were in the woods nearby have fled in fear. Whatever the fuck this noise is.
Yeah, it says here I'm 20 out of 32%, or out of 32 points of wellness here. I should rest and repair.
I don't know that I trust your system to run a proper diagnostic on itself, given the fact that you had an inhibitor clip in you that we didn't know was there, and there's like all these things interfering with other things inside you. Like it's pretty concerning.
Well, I think that you're right. I think that there was something inhibiting me because I was made to be some sort of weapon, but I choose not to do that, to be like those other Warforged that just follow orders. I'm trying to help save the world, and he gives you this really intense look. We're saving the world, Tia.
Yep, and that's wonderful, and I'm glad that we have you on our side. I can see you're a friend, but like I said, this thing was doing more than just inhibiting you. It was maybe transferring information, like maybe it was I don't know for sure, but it seems like it was doing either something like letting someone else see through your eyes or making you do stuff that you normally wouldn't want to do.
Ah, so you're saying maybe I'm still doing things I don't want to do, but how do I know that I don't want to do them?
That's why I want to check out I'm sorry, this sounds a little gross, but I swear I mean it only in a clinical sense. I want to check out things inside you more to make sure everything is okay.
You want to grope in my body? Okay. Well, let's take off the plating here on my left arm, and
yeah. Also, speaking of plating, like the metal, I don't want to open this box because I don't know if it like is still listening to us. And she like looks like basically like a crazy person right now, like some kind of person with.
Oh, we're both like conspiracy mode right now.
Yeah, pretty much. Just, I don't want to open this. Like, I don't know if it's still functional or like how to disable it. So, I think this box will make it okay, but I don't know for sure. So maybe this doesn't even matter. Maybe it's okay right now.
Can we just throw this clip in the swamp now?
But like maybe we can figure out to. Oh, okay. I want to figure out how to trace where it came from, whether if that's by design or somehow like reverse engineering how it does its transmissions.
Well, that's gonna gonna take a while.
Yeah, I don't know how to do that right now, so I'm hoping the box is helpful. But like basically, I don't want to throw it in the swamp. I want to figure it out more.
Okay. Well, maybe if we ever get a chance to write back home, I could ask my handler.
Oh, you're breaking up so much, but that sounds like something that would make her really happy, because she asked you, like, the moment she met you.
My handler
Who made you?
She didn't make me, but she designed my aviars. Or she said she did.
Oh, I see. So, okay. That's pretty cool. That would be super interesting to talk to her in general.
I worried, because if this is changing my instincts, as it were. Anyway, we don't need to. We can continue this conversation like as we fade out if you want.
I forgot my point. So the thing that makes this like extra freaky, like related to the plates thing, is that like those Warforged seem like they were designed, like their plating was designed in like someone else had the same kind of hand to their work, you know, as this clip. So like it's similar design, similar material. So it's just weird. It's weird.
I don't think we can ask them though.
No, I don't even know where they are. And like that other dude was doing like weird hand wavy, you never saw anything Jim, stuff.
Did you have a name for my mommy?
I do. Yeah, it's way back in our conversations.
Okay.
I can find it
No, it's okay. It's okay. We'll get to that maybe later if it becomes relevant. Okay.
It was in like our second cold open.
Well, I will. Maybe we'll do another flashback to that at some point. I think we can start working on that. If we need to start rolling for research again, we can do that. But I don't want to kill everybody else's RP.
Yeah, sorry.
You're good. I'm organized. And I say as I accidentally close the Roll20 room. That just happened. That's a real thing that just happened. I just want to be on record and say that just happened. Because I found the name and I copied it quickly, and I was so excited that I hit a button that closes all my shit.
Oh, she has a fancy name.
That's your mama's name.
Oh, right. She kind of came up, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Jim, but she kind of came up with the whole idea of how my kind were deployed as they were being developed. So, like, you have a bunch of engineers and they're making things, and she's kind of like the project manager. She kind of came up with the like general idea of what they would do, and my design, you know, came from her, like the big picture, and here I am, and she.
Yeah, so what you would remember, or what you would be aware of, is that she had a hand in the deployment of these Warforged, and then essentially ones that were not behaving properly, or when new behaviors were exhibited, were kind of reported back to her. You were specifically reassigned to her, and that's kind of where your memories begin, based on just documentation you would have seen around, or her talking to other people you were around. You just refused to act like everybody else.
And I was like a prototype too, right?
You were just, you were some kind of a problem child. You were a rebel baby.
Yeah.
And so opposed to an alternative, she kind of took you on as her personal, like, scribe, almost.
Right.
Like, you were her record keeper, her appointment book, like all sorts of
I remember that now, yeah.
So would that make her more of like a product owner than a project manager? Just like for my own.
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah, that's probably a safe way to put it.
Okay. Interesting.
So.
We'll kind of cut away from you guys there if that's.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
We can do
all that time.
some background
Oh God,
rolls.
no! I loved it. I that's my favorite part, is when you guys run away with that kind of stuff. So yeah, we'll kind of cut away from those two, taking a look under the plating of Clipper's left arm and whispering about conspiracy theories and magical clips locked in lead boxes, like a bunch of crazies. We'll cut back to the inside where the bodies are and where most of you still are, I think. Did anybody else have anything specific they wanted to jump into, or questions that they wanted to ask each other? Anybody that you wanted to approach?
I would probably just try to comfort the Admiral because she seemed distressed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can find her. She's sort of just sitting where you last saw her, and she looks exhausted, but you can also tell that she's likely not going to sleep for very long. Whether or not it's something you want to dive deep into, we can definitely do that, or not. If you're looking for a quick bang summary, she's pissed. You know, a lot of the people who were here were under her charge. She's a rear admiral, so you know she's kind of got that big dick energy going on with, like, you know, I've got a lot of people under my command. It's my responsibility to take care of them all, and something like this happened, and we're here so far from anybody who can help, and specifically kind of lingers on so far from the sea, which is kind of her forte. After a bit of poking and prodding, you realize that she is the rear admiral for the Fighting Fourth, the fleet that sails down here.
All right, I don't want to take up too much time with this, but I would be definitely like, just, you know, you did well fighting on land. You know, it's not your forte. but you made it. We'll see tomorrow. We'll be on the high seas soon enough. Get those sea legs back.
And she kind of looks past you for a moment and says, I don't know. Part of me thinks I've seen the sea for the last time.
Well, we'll see what fate has in store for both of us. I can't tell you if we will or not, but I can say that you have the best odds with the people that are around you right now. And considering the pile of corpses that came up, I'm pretty sure we're also more likely to be harmed from our own side than by theirs.
Yeah, she lets out kind of like a sad laugh and says, those of us that are left, anyway. She'll just kind of, turn away from you. Not, like, rudely, but sort of just look off in the other direction. I would say that, she heard you. Whether or not she's listening is an entire different question.
My second thing that I would want to do is I'd go over to Eligor and I'd just put him on the shoulder and or put my hand on his shoulder and just say, "Be on your guard."
You left yours?
I never do. And I'm gonna specifically say, especially with the Inquisitor, don't trust.
I didn't start trusting anybody.
No one expects the Bolitarian Inquisition.
Exactly.
One more thing I want to throw out there for you, Rorik, just so that it does not slip our minds. If you would like to resummon Brand, tonight is probably a prime opportunity to do so. Because he was blown the fuck up in that explosion.
Yeah, I'll resummon him.
Just kind of leave it open here. If anybody else has anything else they would like to say or do. If not, I will ask specifically what two of you are doing. I guess three of you, technically. Let's start with Perry. Perry, what do you...
So I guess I'm not entirely clear where we are right now. We're still, we just finished piling up the bodies and we're staying here for the night?
Yeah, it looks like most people are hunkering down in the main hall.
If we didn't go back to our rooms, if we're just saying kind of where we're at, I would have made a point to go gather up my belongings and set up my tent and make my little cozy area, summon my servant to bring me tea, and he's just sitting in his tent being kind of waited on. He had a rough day, so a little bit of luxury.
Okay. Yeah, it's up to you. You could actually stay up in your room. I mean, the door is up. When you get up there, it's empty up there. There's not even really any noise up that high. You could absolutely crash out up there, or you could gather everything up and bring it down. It's up to you.
I mean, I'd want to stay close to my companions.
Sure. Yeah. You take the time to. Right. You take the time to gather it up. You've still got your floating disc. You're pretty.
Yeah.
I'll load everything up on there.
Any of my companions' belongings that were left up there, I'll gather it all onto the disc and bring it all down.
Sure. Yeah, you just kind of come marching back down. The night air of the swamps just surrounds you. The noises that you can hear of bugs and birds and night predators and things like that, they come through a lot more clearly up here where there's not kind of the hustle and it's pretty peaceful, all things told. The night sky doesn't really pierce down this far, but it does basically kind of hit you where you are, where your rooms were. You were high enough up that it kind of just begins to break out of the canopy at that point. It's a little bit of starlight, a little bit of light before you kind of dip back down into the darkness of the swamp.
Yeah, I'll take a moment to just kind of like, sit on the porch and look out over everything and just kind of reflect on the day and, sip my tea and mumble under my breath. Wish I had some tobacco.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get that hookah, guys.
Yeah, there's a nice moment that you can kind of spend up there to yourself, just kind of reflecting on everything that happened.
I imagine it's a very somber moment.
For sure.
There's a lot of death today.
Don't you hear YouTube Somber Mix 22 or whatever the hell this is? Yeah, there's definitely a moment for reflection. You bring everything back down to the main room. You kind of unload all of your compatriots' supplies and everything, and the bishop approaches you. Actually,
This is the guy that I cleaned.
this is the guy that you cleaned. He says, "Oh, hello there. I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name."
Peregrine Pincup, at your service. And he'll hold out a kind of still shaking hand.
Yeah, he'll reach out and shake your hand. He takes a look at your uniform. Lieutenant, then, Pincup, are you're an academy grad?
Yeah. He doesn't seem very, the titles don't really mean much to him, so he's just kind of like, whatever.
Well, Lieutenant, I wanted to thank you. There certainly aren't another set of Vespens out this far. My companions told me that you're to thank for me not looking like a bloody mess anymore. So thank you.
Of course, it would be improper of me not to help you.
Well, my companions also mentioned how you looked at the time, and I guess this really isn't any of my business, Lieutenant, but maybe just make sure to take care of yourself, too.
Single tear wells in his eye, and he just kind of wipes it away, and he says, I'll consider it, sir.
I'm going to pray over here if you'd like to join me.
That sounds pleasant. Would you like a cup of tea?
More than anything else in the world. He kind of leads you over towards a clearing that he's made with, kind of his mat, his prayer mat is laid out. He's got his copy of the text that he's reading from, and the two of you just kind of spend some time, him reading a parable from the book, essentially, and enjoying the cup of tea that you create, and maybe get into a little bit of a spirited philosophical debate about an issue or two, but he just takes the time to listen if you'd like to say anything or bring anything up.
As he's reading his passages, I'll make little images of the story he's telling, and I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name.
Oh, of course. Let me pull my notepad document up.
Yes, those names can be quite difficult to remember. I forget my own from time to time.
I threw this in chat earlier, but I'm sure it's long gone, so there it is again.
Thank you.
Bishop Valerian A. Farron. That's a mouthful.
It's a right and proper name.
Well, Peregrine Pincup certainly has a nice ring to it.
He looks a little proud as he says that.
Yeah, he smiles. He takes note of your illusions and asks you questions about them, and takes some time to really mention that, man, if he could only have somebody like you at the summer camps where, really to get people interested and kind of pull the attention back in, this is a pretty neat skill, and he seems very appreciative of the show that you put on.
Yeah, I'll as he says that, I'll let him know that I developed these skills for just that reason. My younger siblings didn't have as much as they deserved growing up, and I made it my business to give them what I could.
Well, they've still got you, Lieutenant Pincup, and that's more than most people deserve, so I'm sure they're grateful. He smiles, puts a hand on your shoulder.
As he says, they've still got you, Perry becomes visibly like it is hard for him to hold back his emotions right now. He's very visibly upset by this idea.
Yeah, he doesn't retract the statement necessarily. It lacks the social grace to really know how to help you further, so he just kind of silently sits and watches and waits to see if you say anything.
I mean, if he doesn't press it, Perry will kind of take a moment to compose himself and suggest that they get back to their prayers.
Yeah, he nods. I didn't mean to upset you. I'm sorry. Here, here's a good story about a pair of brothers, and he kind of just goes back into his spiel.
And Perry goes back into his, making his illusions.
All right. The other person I wanted to ask what they were currently up to is Vol, because a lot happened here today.
Yeah, I think sitting back. I mean, he would help as kind of taking the like turtle bodies aside. But I think he'd just sit up on the like on the balcony on the side of one of those railings if we're still way up high, with like his feet over the edge again. And I don't think he's really doing a whole lot of anything. He's just thinking. Maybe to pass the time, he's got like a hand open and he keeps kind of like crafting like some kind of weird plant in his hand and then closing it and it goes away, and then crafts some other plant and closes it and it goes away. Probably like the plants he uses to make the beer that he doesn't have anymore.
Sure.
Maybe it's something like a little bit of an alcohol withdrawal thing that he does, not really knowing that he does it.
Sure.
But yeah, I don't think he's really doing anything like grandiose, or just kind of reflecting on where he's finding himself right now and what's going on.
Yeah, as you are crafting these flowers in your hand, you're closing your palm and opening it different. The one time that you open your palm, there are two flowers there, and one of them is something called a stink flower. It's like this. It's this blue, pretty looking flower that just smells like absolute shit. And you've been around them long enough to know that it's like if you get too close, you basically set off their defense mechanism, and they spray like stinky spores in your face. They're not harmful, but this thing kind of lets out a soft puff of air in your direction, and you're kind of wafted with this stinky smell. You look about and see Bivar standing not too far from you, and he kind of waves, and more heavily leaning on his staff than he's used to. He's kind of pulling himself over in your direction.
Yeah, he would. Once he looks up and like sees him after getting kind of like the stinky smell in his face, he would give kind of his guttural laugh and say to him,
Oh, you got me. That smells good.
I thought you might like that smell, just based on the little that I know about you.
Smells a lot better than places I've been recently. It is a welcome change.
Smells a lot better than you. He laughs and kind of sits down next to you.
Oh, you do.
I don't know what to say or do about today. All of my people are gone, and they've gone back home, and they'll want answers. I don't know if I should continue traveling with you or if I should go back to them. I wanted to check with you and see what you thought.
Honestly, about today, I haven't spent enough time around my own people to know if this is normal or if everyone hates my father and my family, and this is just how it is now. I could tell you more about the different fish in the swamp and where to find them, but I know one thing: it's not safe to travel back by yourself, you should go on with us. I know my father would be happy to meet you, and we could send you back with more people that with a safer group. Maybe I could come back with you as well. I'd like to spend more time with your people under different circumstances.
You flatter me. If you think I should continue, then I will come with you. I look forward to this experience, as grim as today was. The chance to know more about you and these friends that you've brought. This is important for me and for you, and for this place that we live in. I have a feeling this won't be the last time we see threats from the outside.
I fear that you're right. A bit of a selfish request, too. Very short-handed now. I fear that we're going to continue to need your help to make it there.
I mean, if I'm being honest, I kind of want to come anyway, so it's sort of selfish on my part.
Yeah, it is I guess, spoiled from the castle, but if you haven't seen it, it is a sight to behold.
I've never seen it, but I look forward to it.
Well, I appreciate your company and you staying with us. And then I'm going to craft like the same flower in his hand and have it go off. The stinky one.
Yeah, he doesn't notice it first, and then he gets hit with it, and he's like, ah! Oh, okay. He looks at the flower and then eats it. They smell terrible, but at least they taste okay.
Yeah, you can't judge food by its smell or its look. As he like pops one of his gross green slimy good berries into his mouth and eats it.
Yeah, he kind of pats you on the back once and says, I guess you can't judge friends that way either.
Well, I guess you're right.
And yeah, we'll kind of fade away from that interaction a little bit as you guys sit on your elevated platform, listening to the sounds of the swamp.
Why are
other
there
person-
so many? Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, what was that?
No, it's just singing some Kermit songs.
Yep. Yeah, it's all good. And then the other person I wanted to check on this evening was Rallick, just to see what Rallick is up to.
Oh, he pretty much tried to exhaust himself, clearing out the bodies, and trying to not be nervous about the whole going to the peace talks without the diplomats thing and implications of Vol's people attacking. But nothing particularly much this evening. Just kind of hanging out. I guess probably hanging out with Holbrook is what he's doing.
Yeah, Holbert kind of calls you over after you guys are done dealing with the. I guess Pancake died. Sorry, y'all. But I guess Pancake's just done. But yeah, he'll call you over after y'all have dealt with kind of the staging the bodies and essentially like that. He reaches into a kind of a pocket that he has under one of his pauldrons and pulls out just a small piece of paper. And he kind of spreads it out on the table in front of you as you both kind of sit in the main hall at one of the dining tables and shows you the best he can tell, or the best that was made of a map of the he takes some time to kind of point out where you guys are and what you know about the area, and explains that this was made with all of the intelligence we have, every fort, every crossing, river, lake that we're aware of. You'll see here, and he kind of draws out the dotted line that you see. This was the intended path. I'm not sure how accurate it is based on where we are now, but I don't think we're that far out from the castle itself. I normally wouldn't share this much information with the lieutenant, and he kind of gives you like a soft punch on the shoulder. But to be honest, it's going to be up to you to step up here. You and your friends, you're important. You always have been, but
Aw.
this whole thing is going to ride on you and your ability to lead, keep them together. If we make it to the castle, we're representing more than the people who are here. We're representing everyone back home. We're winning this war, but peace is preferable. Peace is a word that I've only dreamed about, and almost everyone back home has never heard.
I don't suppose we can just tell the. I'm sorry, what was the other nation's name? I'm spacing on it.
What was the other what?
The opposing nation's name?
Yeah, the Kingdom of Dale.
Can't we just tell the Dale diplomats that we're done fighting? Is that. I mean, won't that work?
Could be suspicious. There are a lot of things to consider. Borders that have changed places, trade routes that have been blockaded and shut down. It's going to be more than everyone just kind of putting down their swords. The truth is, having them on the run puts us in a position of strength. We'll be expected to get more out of it than just a ceasefire. They'll probably expect concessions, and he looks towards the dead diplomat. I guess I should have asked his plans before today.
Do you have any way to get in touch with the command or whoever back home?
No, I would imagine I'm the highest ranking person from here to the Trident, most likely. Generals tend to not spend much time on the line. Cowards.
Well, I guess one thing at a time. We get to the castle.
Well, stay close. If anything happens to you, Lambert will be the one negotiating. Then we're all screwed. He smiles.
Try to force a smile, but the notion seems to scare me.
Yeah. And we'll kind of just back out of that as well. Cool. If nobody else had anything that they wanted to do, thank you all for participating in that. I feel like it's been too long since we had that kind of extended thing. The night closes without incident. You all sleep, for the most part, uncomfortably. I guess Perry, having retrieved everything that Perry needs to sleep comfortably, sleeps comfortably, and Clipper, not needing to sleep, sleeps just fine. So you probably pass out in some corner like you're used to doing. But the evening fades into morning. The sun rises, and as the day starts, there is a burial service that takes place. Essentially, it's a little bit more grisly for the turtles. Essentially, they kind of just find a nice place to place them all and cover them with a thin layer of mud. They don't go out of their way to really, alienate the dead from the world around them. The idea being that everything they're made of is useful and should return as resources to the world around them. But Holberg and the bishop and the rest of your folks find a nice dry-ish plot of land and have spent some time digging holes. You see some dark circles under Lambert's eyes. You get the feeling he might have been out here all night with a shovel, just digging. And each of the bodies are kind of laid to rest. There is a nice service for the departed. And at that point, both delegations kind of go back to the main hall. You are all served breakfast. You're well fed. Still not a lot going on in the way of conversation. It is at that point the sage will approach Vol and present you with your options. So let me pull that up real quick.
Quiz time.
And actually, I need just a minute here, because I left something in the other room. I'll be right back.
Something's in the oven. Oh, that's what I should have been, as a Warforged with an easy bake oven in my chest. No? Okay.
You get nothing.
Boom.
Too late response because I forgot I was muted. I want easy bake oven brownies.
I should like turn on the keyboard that I have in front of me and just play like drone music, you know, like just drone sweeps, like fantasy music. No, maybe that would annoy.
You're breaking up a lot for me. I can't.
It's because I have my gain turned up too low. There.
This is why we should always put our journals on the computer.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I try to just make sure everything's in Roll20, even though there's all these great tools out there. It's like, but I can make it pop up.
Right. So, this sage, Alcutus Turin, approaches you. Vivar's there with you. And he kind of lays out this thing he's been considering overnight. As the map that we're currently sitting on does point out, it's pretty close to form. Like, you know which path you're supposed to traverse. The land should be clear and safe. There are patrols moving from Castle Tetzinger to Alanmere on a regular basis. Everything west of Alanmere is maintained by Tortle, as opposed to Morkendi. So, you know, it's just, you should really only be seeing your people from here on in. But he offers an alternative as well. He explains that there is a passage underneath the tree. It's been sealed off for a long time. It provides you a different route that you could essentially take if you're worried about ambush. So essentially, if everybody can kind of see my cursor here, you'll see kind of where the two rivers converge up here. This is essentially a valley, and slightly worried that you might be ambushed there, he's going to point out that there is a passage underneath the tree that would let out down here. And if you zoom in, there's a little cave mouth down there. Now, this way would take longer, but you would potentially avoid any additional sabotage or ambush that whoever is plotting against you may have set up. That being said, he does warn you. The passage down below was sealed off for a reason. There are dangers down there. Things that are better left sealed in the dark, if you will.
Sorry.
I mean, that sounds fun.
They dug too deep.
Mm-hmm. Too greedily and too deep.
My favorite trope.
Yeah.
So he's like showing the map and going over these things then?
Yeah, so he's not really showing you the map, but I'm showing you the map because you would be aware of like the landmarks that he's pointing out. I'm showing everybody the map because it's a little bit nebulous if I don't actually give you guys something to look at.
Yeah, so I think Vol would probably respond with what I think everyone might be thinking. He'd go,
My friend, I appreciate the information, but I don't make these decisions. I will need to talk it over with everybody else here, but you couldn't have told us this 4, 5, 6, 7 days ago, avoided the slaughter that just happened. I met you when we got here. Knew our goal.
That's not my place to say. I'm only an advisor. The queen, as I mentioned, the Marquisette doesn't even allow me in the main hall while she resides. They had to send for me. You saw that when you came here. I was in my chambers. I'm isolated to my chambers while the queen is away normally. As I mentioned, I only risked discipline to come out for the dinner because I thought it would be improper if I didn't attempt to show. When I left my room, the guards who were normally there weren't there. Turns out they were with you.
Well, let me talk to the rest of the people here, but next time you withhold knowledge and know that you do think about those we buried today, this is information that would have been better served for, even if it wasn't your place.
I didn't even know there was a nefarious plot a few days ago. I only found out yesterday. I hadn't even considered the underground path. I spent all night working on this as you walked.
Yeah, he's done with them. He'd walk away and present the same information to the rest of the group. Just, yeah, I'd tell the rest of them, just, I guess, fast forward, blah, 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 2 paths, underground. Underground might be bad. Above ground might be bad. What do you guys think?
We're gonna try to just transition into another thing that we're gonna work on here, where you guys are gonna kind of get to decide how you get to where you get to go. I know it's been very railroady so far to get us to this point, but I've promised repeatedly that there is light at the end of the tunnel, and now there are 2 tunnels. It's up to you guys to decide what you'd like to do from here.
Sounds like one of the tunnels has no light in it, though.
Well, yeah.
Oh,
Well,
no.
doesn't matter. I can still see in the dark.
I guess so can I.
Well, that's great for you.
Is it,
I mean,
is
I
it
do have
really that?
lanterns I can cast.
Well, then.
Typically, things that reside in the dark don't like light, so we do have that advantage.
Is it really that unsafe to just travel overground to the castle? How far away is it? Doesn't look that far.
Well, it sounds like we need to. It sounds dangerous either way. I guess maybe time is the issue if the other way is longer. Do we know when the treaty is?
So there have been a few questions about that. Just to make it clear, they can't sign a treaty if you guys aren't there. So if, as far, they wouldn't have set a date on a calendar like we're signing this treaty. These are peace talks. So the idea is once both sides are at the table, y'all will work out whatever you believe the treaty to be. This originally was going to take place with the diplomat, who is, buried under the earth.
Can anyone speak with dead?
Ooh.
Damn it. He's level 5.
That's a different school of magic, my dear boy.
But yeah, just to make
dark
sure that's
magic.
clear, so you guys can keep going.
All right, so it sounds like we have our path, and we're not going to be, getting any type of revenge. So we should carry on, I suppose.
I think you malfunction.
I just said we should probably carry on then if we've got our directions and we're not seeking any type of retribution. Did that work okay?
Yeah, that one was good, yep.
Do you mean should we just take the above ground route then? I've come across things in the swamp over the years above ground, but I've never gone beneath. I don't know what lurks down there.
Well, here's what I would say. We don't know what's in the underground tunnel. We do know what may await us on the regular path. We do know that what may await us on the overland path nearly just killed a number of us. So I'm feeling like maybe the tunnels sound nice.
I think if we have a clear idea of what paths we need to take underground, that also gives us a bit of an advantage in that, like, there are only so many directions they can come at us. Like, it'll be easier for us to kind of control that. And then also it seems like it's pretty likely that we could get ambushed on known paths, which seems not ideal.
Tactically speaking, I suggest that we go for the tunnels for 2 reasons. First is that they're only expecting us to take the road to get there. So if we ambush them from behind with the castle reinforcements, we'd have a better shot. Secondly, whatever we find down there, if we need to collapse the tunnel, I can collapse the tunnel easily, and with my mold earth as I'm just levitating a rock in my hand.
Oh, that's very useful.
Well, I don't think we're in particular hurry at this point. So yeah. I mean, if we think that's safest, than the tunnel. I'm not worried about taking a few days longer.
I wonder if it's possible for us to kind of set up a simple ruse, like send notice ahead somehow, telling them, hey, we'll be there in 7 days, or whatever the expected overland travel
But that's rude.
time is. I mean, it'll probably get intercepted and they probably won't get it anyway, if people are really watching us,
That's pretty presumptuous.
And if they do get it, then they just end up waiting. Which is not great, but I'm sure they can figure out something to do in the place where they live for 3 days, or 5 days, or however long it takes.
I would say it's going to take you roughly 7 overland and 10 underground, if anybody missed that. Sorry.
I don't know why we send something then not just go ourselves. And it sounds like people are set on underground. Time's not an issue.
Is the rest of the group with us? Like, are those that old guy and the woman and the elf? Are they coming with us?
So that's a good question. When you speak to them, you are under the understanding that they see a need to send word back to the fleet first to let them know what happened, but they anticipate joining you shortly. Essentially, whichever route you take, they plan on taking shortly afterwards. They are not too concerned about their safety. They can handle themselves. Again, being told what you were all told in Quetzal about this swamp, groups any larger than your party, 7 or 8 people, tend to attract the attention of much bigger predators, which is probably what happened to the first 2 caravans that were on their way to Alanmere. Got picked off due to creating a lot of... There are more dangerous things out here in the swamp than displacer beasts. So they will not be traveling with you. They will follow 2 days behind.
You all like sleeping, laying in the muck and floating in water. Maybe the underground would be a better place. Maybe less buggy too.
Are you saying underground would be cleaner?
Drier. Be my...
That's... I don't know. It sounds like it'd be drippy down there.
You know for sure it's wet up here, so there's a chance.
I mean, we know a lot of things for sure about one path, and we know really nothing for sure about the other path, so who feels like gambling?
You make it sound like underground.
The wet tunnel it is then.
I'm sorry, Panda, you cut out.
Saying you make it sound like underground is not the right option then. If we know nothing about it.
Well, considering what I had said before, that we know what likely awaits us on the upper path, and that recently nearly killed a bunch of us. And I am a gambling man.
Do we have some kind of map or directions for using the tunnels?
Well, there is no map of the underground. However, based on the conversation that the sage had with Vol, you are confident that there are not very many branching paths. It's a pretty straightforward underground circuit that they know where the 2 ends are. One is under the tree, the other is here.
And this was built by them? What is this?
Nope.
Oh, I'm
Nope.
sorry.
They are not sure where this came from. And based on... They used to use it on a regular basis, but things got a little sketchy down there, so they sealed the path from this end.
It sounds like there are unknowns in the tunnels, but we have probably greater control of the playing field if we take that route.
I like to think of them as fun knowns.
Yes, I like that.
thanks. I hate it.
To be less than 1 years old again.
Well, I think we mostly agree that the tunnels are the best route, but we should probably get going. Does anyone disagree?
No.
To the murder hole, to the tunnels we go. Excellent. All
We
right.
choose the mines.
I will say that my navigational skills depend mostly on the presence of both stars and a road.
You gain
Neither
your
of which
powers
we
from
need.
Earth's yellow sun.
So,
I mean, the
I
tunnels
will be-
themselves are a road, right? So.
well, that's one way of looking at it.
The way they put it, we can't get lost. What's the worst that could happen? Plus, no one's used these tunnels in a while. It'll be empty.
Oh yeah, totally. It'll just be dusty and maybe a little. We'll just sneeze a lot. It'll be okay.
You know, we spend so much time just doing the same old thing, same old mundane roads we walk on. It'll be nice to do something a little different.
Never spent any time in a tunnel before.
This is like 100% sham and not parody.
It's all right. It's all right to meta a little bit. Why not? Yeah. So I
But I'm
would
doing
assume
it with his voice mannerisms, though.
Hey. Okay. So yeah, it doesn't sound like anybody has any huge gripes with the decision you've chosen. So we'll consider it a majority decision. You return to your buddy the sage here. He nods in approval. He advises you all to take the rest of the morning to gather up anything you need, say any farewells or buy any supplies or anything like that, and he will then lead you to where you need to go. So if nobody has anything pressing, we will jump to early afternoon.
I'd just like to say goodbye
Sure.
to my new friend, the bishop.
Yeah, absolutely. He's sad to see you go, but he does not envy you guys having to leave first. Basically, he's super happy that he's sticking with his group and that you guys are going off on your own. So he's sad to see you go too, but maybe for a different reason.
And should your clothes need cleaning and pressing again when I next see you, well, that'll just be easy enough to accomplish.
Yeah, he smiles and says, dirty clothes I can deal with, but that tea is something we'll need to circle back on because I'd like another cup of that someday.
I'll gather up some herbs to give him.
Yeah, kind of like right after you, right as the time comes for everybody to gather up, you manage to catch him one last time, and you've got a bag of the herbs that you've been kind of studying over the course of the past week to make a good cup of tea and present them to him. He's just completely taken aback, and he reaches out to shake your hand again. It looks like he was going to try to hug you, but then he kind of realized, like, that's weird, and put his hand out.
I find the best mixture is a lot of the soggy green ones with a little of the red ones, and just a smidge of the dried brown ones.
Oh, I'll have to try to find a way to keep them soggy. I appreciate it. Yeah, he takes his care package with a smile. And yeah, I did not want to hand wave anybody else that wants to do anything like that, so feel free. But if not...
I guess if it's possible to send letters, Tia would try to send a letter. And I can send you that later, but...
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
Okay.
I would say that since the other group is staying behind to try to send word to the fleet, they could easily take a letter as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll send my regular little package then as well.
Okay. Yeah, Lambert is the one to take all of these things from you and is looking at you all like, did you forget who you're talking? Like, as you asked him to deliver your mail. He does take a moment to kind of just double check all of you, like, you know, like, you got your knife? What about your rope? You got your rope? Don't forget to tie it twice if you're coming down from the... You know, like, he's doing his best to kind of run you through the things that you would have drilled 100 times in the academy, and some of you several times since. If anybody, yeah,
I was gonna say, I think before we left the village, if there was like a small congregation of like the actual villager turtles that lived there, Bull would try to give them kind of like a, not like a rousing speech, but kind of like a stay on the path. Like don't, what happened here doesn't need to happen again. You guys need to follow the rest of the people and like our family, and then try to like lace it with fishing metaphors and like, if one person tries to fish with a tree trunk and it doesn't work, it doesn't mean everybody should do it. Stick to the fishing rods that you guys know, and just kind of like teeter off. But I think they'd all understand what he's saying. Mostly like just, our family's not gonna abandon you. We'll send someone back. The actual queen will be back.
Okay. Yeah, let's have you do like a persuasion check, and we'll give you advantage because you are amongst peers and people, and
yeah, he's trying to give like his little bit of family assurance on the way out.
You carry some weight here. You are, yeah. I mean, of the group that had gathered to kind of see you all off, you do see some resolute expressions, some people that feel reassured. Towards the back, there are those troublemakers back there who seem a little bit less convinced, but nobody's actively saying anything against you. So,
yeah, that's all.
Awesome. Okay. So with that, last call.
I'm just gonna send out the normal messages with everyone else.
Okay. So you'll send letters as per usual. The sage at one point is waiting for you in the main hall, and behind the throne itself, he pulls aside a tapestry, and there is a tunnel that leads underground. You all walk down with him over the course of maybe a good hour or so, deeper and deeper underground. The smells change, the air changes, it feels stale. You eventually find yourselves, let me find my spot. So you were led to the lowest levels of the tree, finding your way down dark tunnels saturated with roots and vines and all manner of bugs and subterranean life. As I mentioned, the air down here is stale. It's been a long time since anybody's been down here. You are eventually led to stale. It's been a long time since anybody's been down here. You are eventually led to stale. It's been a long time since anybody's horribly ramshackle underground sea of vines that I created with no art skill whatsoever. However, I think I actually stole this from somewhere. I'm sure I did. I didn't draw it myself. What the hell, Jim? So, at the base of the vines, essentially when you've run out of room, there's nowhere else to go. The old sage takes his staff and finds a place where the vines seem to give way and pushes it inside of the viney mass, the living wall, essentially. When he does that, you see that... I'm assuming you can all see like the crazy magic circle up there up top.
Yeah, inside the crazy Tangela. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. The crazy magic circle kind of lights up above the doorway, and the vines begin to pull and recede away from the wall, one at a time, and then 2 at once, and then 20 at once as they all kind of pull apart and reveal another hastily thrown together thing. The doorway, which hopefully you can all see.
Nope.
Does he speak friend or what?
Essentially, yes.
Okay.
This only happened after a conversation I was having earlier today with another DM who was talking about a dungeon and doors, and I was like, oh yeah, huh. I don't know if that completely broke everything or not, but whatever, you find a path underground. It looks like the path goes up in the photo, but it actually does go down. The sage explains to you that he's going to seal this tunnel from this side once you are underground. However, if you do need out, these are just vines. It may take you a while to cut through them, but they will grow back. He's just going to seal it for the safety of everyone here, so that if you go underground and anything kind of slips in past you, it can't come up from this end. So once you're underground, you may have to cut your way back out if you want to come down here.
Is the other end sealed?
To his knowledge, no. It's never been closed up from that perspective. Knowing that this side is sealed was enough for the people of Allen. Basically, the other end, is still an open cave that people just kind of know not to go in. To the best of his knowledge.
Well, I guess we should do it then.
All right, underground you go, like this Dark Souls-looking motherfucker who comes down the stone path, which eventually leads into a cave-like system. You are underground, and you would expect to be here for the next 10 days. So the way I would like to handle that is I would like to break it up into 4 2-day periods and just kind of let the last one ride depending on what happens here. So we'll start with just the 4. I need navigation, provisioners, and scout. I need each of those checks made at disadvantage because you are underground and you don't really know where you are or where you're going.
I'm good at
Whoever is helping find the path, I'm gonna affix the visor of focus to their head.
I'm good at stealth and okay at perception.
Do that.
Oh, I'm best off keeping watch at night.
Not sure. Would I be able to use my navigator's tools down here? Probably not, right?
I would say so. I mean, it doesn't work in the traditional way, which is why you would have disadvantage. But there are certain little trinkets in there that, would help you in keeping a path or marking a location or things like that. I would say reasonably you can roll with disadvantage.
Plus a d4.
Yep. So let's get the navigator tool check plus a d4. Vol, you can roll your survival check for your.
So can I use guidance on myself?
I think you can guidance yourself.
Positive you can.
Yeah.
You can absolutely do that.
Yeah, I picked
You
it up
just
at level 4
you
and I
pray
never used it.
to be good at stuff.
Right.
Yeah, I guidance myself to find food. If not, I vomit in my hand and give it.
Okay.
And then I get what? A D4.
Yes, you would get a d4 for guidance.
If Vol is doing that, then I'd better do
Nice. That'll make a difference.
maybe perception or.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, you can use perception.
Although
check to
there's-
keep an eye on the path in front of you.
There's some good
Can you see it,
perceivers. No, I can't. They gave the Warforged have too many things going on. We can't have dark vision.
I gotcha. So yeah, I mean, I guess all I could really do in that circumstance is give you disadvantage anyway. So you
Ugh.
already have it, so it should make a difference.
Okay. Do I need to? I'm good at stealth, but so is Rallick. Or I mean, yeah,
Rorik, probably.
Rorik. Look, it's difficult. I don't know, Rorik. How good are you at perception?
Steven, not Stefan.
I see good. Yes.
Why don't you just do it, Rogue? Since that's kind of your job.
Yeah, I mean, I have only +2 to perception.
Oh yeah, I've got +4, but I mean, I don't know if there's a lot of stealth involved. I don't know. I'll do it. It's fine. Okay.
I mean, if it's more stealth, I think I can do it.
I would say it's strictly perception for the scouting, but if you guys notice something, you'll have the ability to stop and approach it.
Well, the elf has dark vision, so or the half elf.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I'm full elf.
Okay.
Full-blown, baby.
Yeah, I'll go ahead.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, roll me a perception check at disadvantage.
No.
What? What do you mean disadvantage?
Everybody has disadvantage. You're trying to navigate under. Okay. So based on that, you've all passed the first day. 2 successes and a failure is still 2 successes and a failure. So, you've managed to make it through the first 2 days without issue. It's dark down here. It can get a little confusing from time to time. Rurik, once or twice over the course of the first day, you almost accidentally walk everybody off a cliff, but you kind of catch yourself at the last minute when Perry's like, no, it's this way. So
On the road, lads, stay on the road.
Right. So we will move on to days 3 and 4. I, again, need a navigator, a provisioner, and a... I will say, to Vol with that 16, you were able to scrounge up enough, like, fungus and moss and things like that for people to eat, so...
Yeah, bon appetit.
For days 3 and 4, I need navigator, provisioner, and scout.
If Rorik is scouting again, he is absolutely getting the visor attached to his head with, like, great gusto. Like, you need this. Wear this now.
Sure.
What does it do?
It will help you focus. I put it on your head. I tighten the little strap that keeps it on. And then there's, like, a kind of like a metronome thing that crosses across your face and goes tick, 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 tick. And you get a D4.
Oh my god.
Not
so
that
I
that
don't
will
think
help.
the D4 is
Not
going to
that that will
save
help.
that. Like, first roll, fine, that's good. Second roll. Second roll just hates me.
Horrible.
Yep.
Why are you so bad at this?
So,
Oh,
like, every time
maybe
that you
robot
would... Oh, sorry, go ahead, Riley.
Mind going?
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, this time you had a pretty good idea for, like, where the drop-offs are based on, like, the way that the cave walls look and things. But now every time you get close to them, this bright flash comes into your eyes from this visor, and now you're, like, stumbling around, like, half blind, and you can barely find your way, as is. Thankfully, yet again, there really wasn't anything to run into. You've passed days 3 and 4. That 2 successes, 1 failure thing so far is in your favor. Let's start days 5 and 6 with those checks again, if you would, please. You can switch it up, or you can do whatever you'd like.
Yeah, if Tia can get it on Rorik again, the visor's
No.
going on.
ugh.
All right.
I mean, a 13 is better than a 3.
You have not
So-
walked off any cliffs or come even close to that today. You're doing much.
See? I told you it works.
Oh no, we're starving.
Okay.
Well, it just means you get good berries today.
Hmm.
Okay.
Slime berries.
Mmm.
Enjoy.
Delicious.
So days 5 and 6 were a little bit rough on you guys. You had disadvantage again on all of your checks, which sets us up for 3 failures, which means you can probably hear the smile in my voice.
Oh no.
We eventually come to
Enemy music starts. Dun, dun, dun,
an
dun.
underground lake of some kind. You've reached it. It looks like there's a crack in the wall here. Let me pull you guys over here, and I will show you where to drop your tokens.
Oak, you drop it.
So you can drop in your tokens here at whatever, whatever marching order you would deem to be appropriate. I will pull Bivar out because he's with y'all.
I'm not on that map. I'm still.
Yeah, I
looking
still
at
see the
this
stairs.
Oh shit! my bad,
Stairs.
y'all.
Hey, it happens to me all the time.
How about now? Are we good?
Yep. Oh, that's a big
All
map.
right. We're going down here.
Yeah, I only go 50 by 50, so I get it.
Make sure that you, fully heal yourself up.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, right. Do we
Apply
ever...
the- Yeah, I would imagine you have your temp hit points, unless Ralix says differently. I would imagine you guys have your temp.
Oh yeah, I've been.
Every morning he's like, I believe in you.
You essentially gather up for your Wheaties in the morning. He gives you a nice speech about Well, it's technically not even the leader feat. It's more the blessing that he's received, which is strange that you receive it here underground. But it's almost like you have a necklace with a certain stone on it that connects you with your goddess.
Oh yeah, it's not a weak goddess like everyone else worships. No, this
Lesser
goddess is
gods, right?
the lesser gods. That there's a whole group of them. They just all lump together with the church because they need them all.
I walk over to him and I slap him on the face like, "My God is war!"
All right. Well, while you guys are making all this noise, you have come across a large, what appears to be, like I had mentioned, it's not like an underground lake per se, but there is a huge crack in the wall, and the swamp essentially seems to be flooding in down here, not at a ridiculous rate, but you have no idea how deep this water is, or what might be lurking inside of it.
Well,
do
evil
you want to do
lurks
now?
in the heart of man. Well, I suppose we need to check and see how deep the water is.
I could go first.
Oh,
Can
right.
we go
I swear
around?
to God, if you swim in that lake, you're gonna die.
Can we just
Should be safe.
there's all these rocks. Can't we just throw one in and see what happens?
Now, let me just remind you all that the last time we encountered an underground lake, it was full of sea devil children.
Yeah, and they
Well, yeah,
picked
but this
clean
is
bodies in
Invol's
like
homeland. I'm
2
sure there's
seconds.
none
But this is the swamp here, and the only difference is this water's underground. I haven't cleaned myself in a while. Use a dip. I'll check
Oh,
it.
well, my dear, if you need cleaning, I can assist you. You don't need to get at that filthy water.
I mean,
I think our definition of clean is different.
I could go too. I don't have to breathe at all. I don't think I'll rust.
I'm a pretty good swimmer.
Okay.
Okay, let's go, the three of us
Yeah, just-
together.
Sure.
Can I
Oh, dear.
just hide on top of the cliff or on top of one of these ridges, or if it is flat, or if that's just like a cave? Can I just go on top of that, hide, and just watch them as they get attacked by whatever monsters in the
We
water?
will say that there is no elevation change, but you can absolutely hang in the back as you all continue to argue and discuss what the plan is. Byvar makes sure to mention he has a policy not to swim in any water he can't see the bottom of, because you never know what kind of creatures might be lurking underneath.
How about we
When
throw
he
something in
says
that's
that,
not our bodies? Oh god.
I would like, since Vol, Rallick, and Clipper had specifically mentioned being up front and taking a look at it, I'd like the 3 of you to make perception checks, if you would.
Sure.
Can you see your own death?
Boo! Oh, I forgot how good you are at that.
I see.
Vol, there appears to be not far out some sort of. There's just a set of eyes on top of the water that are watching you.
There's a large fish in there looking at us.
Oh. How large?
You see the eyes right there.
If you see the eyes, that has to be enormous.
Well, I don't know many fish to look back at you, but I guess it is pretty big. I can't really tell from here.
Can you throw some sort of spell at it or something to make it scared away?
Suppose.
What about Perry? Can you make some sort of loud noise or a giant fish-eating animal?
Oh.
And I'll get still quite far away and somewhere over in off the shore. I'll cast a minor illusion sound.
A cave bear?
I don't know what kind of sound, but just a loud one.
Like a bird or something, maybe?
Maybe a insect kind of noise.
Yeah, Vol, you see the eyes disappear beneath the waves for a moment.
You know what? I'll make an illusion of an insect as well, like a kind of large one, maybe the size of like a hand.
Okay. Yeah, the eyes disappear beneath the waves for a moment. Then a long serpentine neck kind of snaps out of the water, head attached to it, razor sharp teeth, as it snaps at this illusory.
Okay.
And then disappears back below the water.
Okay.
Perry kind of stumbles backwards and he just goes, "Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear."
Okay, we can't do that.
Maybe you shouldn't swim in there. No.
Yeah, we need to make a raft.
Oh, I can help with that. But
Oh,
there's like
doesn't sound
just
much safer.
rocks down here. I can't do much with those.
We'll find light rocks.
Are there any have we found any like large fungi or anything like that? I'm just thinking of, the Underdark stuff we've done.
Yeah, big old woody shrooms.
Well, perhaps I could keep it distracted with the illusion of food far away from us. Maybe.
How are you going to get across?
Well, if we're on a raft, I can.
Oh, I see. That makes
not
sense.
be rowing.
That makes sense.
I don't particularly like the idea. I'd rather find another way around.
I mean,
Did you see that thing?
There could be
I mean,
more
if-
than one.
yeah.
Vol, you notice the eyes return above the waves.
Oh shit.
Maybe we can lure it closer and then take care of it?
I mean,
Or like
mm,
put it to sleep? I don't know.
I
Can
could
we?
shoot it. It's kind of outside my range, but
It really hasn't done anything aggressive. It's snap
It
it.
hasn't done
that-
anything aggressive. Did you see it?
Yeah, you were doing magic
With
at it. It
that,
Did you
when
see those
you mention
teeth?
it has not done anything aggressive and you turn around, the eyes stay put. Or at least that pair does.
right.
Oh no.
Now we're getting into
Several
Oh,
others
no.
snap out of the water and in Vol's general direction.
Legend
Now
of
it's-
Zelda boss fight.
Now it's
We
aggressive.
will pick up here in 2 weeks' time.
Yay.
We're all accosted by the Hydra of the underground lake.
Oh no, it's a Hydra.
Oh, it's got legs.
Oh yeah, it can come to you if you're not gonna come to it.
Oh
Oh
no.
dear.
I was hoping y'all would just go swim, and I'd be like, yeah, it's just staying right where it is. And then the other 4 are not.
We would have, but some people were second guessing the swimming plan. As though there was a monster in the lake.
Everybody was arguing instead of finding those light rocks that we.
I have significantly more than one head, and that is just not okay.
Yeah, maybe the rocks and the magic provoked it. We could have just swam right across.
Yeah.
Yeah. If he thought that we were amphibious like he was, but instead we're land dwellers worthy of destruction.
Yeah, chucking
I know.
rocks in the pool.
I don't know when Perry gets fabricate, but it's like Perry's just like, and I make a raft.
Right.
Like,
Yeah. Like I kind of have.
My-
I don't
my
think
illusion
anyone's
is hungry.
surprised.
Yeah,
I'm
see,
still
I was
a,
hoping you would be able to do that, but there's really nothing down here to use.
Yeah, I need to have some metal to start with, and there's like nothing.
Well, I mean, we have a metal man. You can use him.
Whoa.
Oh, yeah.
If you
Just a little
turned me
part of
into a raft, that would be pretty. Wait a second. No, I heard somebody did that with their Warforged. They gave them like boat
They
or
turn them into it.
water
turn them into
vehicle
a boat.
proficiency, and their built-in tool was they were a boat.
That's
Oh,
awesome.
Ducky. Inflatable.
A duck. Amphibious vehicle.
That's fucking brilliant. Yeah, so we'll pick up here next week with a surprise round. This thing's got reach, so there's more than just Lowell that's in danger. Thank you all for playing and for playing with me in this space. And I would like to take a moment to acknowledge that everybody here tonight really killed it with like the role playing and the staying in character and stuff like that. So I'm going to do something a little bit uncharacteristic. I would like you all to start next week with advantage. I'm going to hand them out this week because this is one of the most fun I have had during one of our sessions, just by everybody kind of taking their time to really, absorb the world and explore the pieces that I'm putting into it. And it made me feel really good seeing everybody's level of interaction tonight. So I want to make everybody else feel good so you can all have inspiration.
Thanks, Jim.
You're welcome.
Yay. Well, I'm gonna cut off this stream.
Yeah, do that real quick, and then we'll wrap up one other thing, and then people can drop.
Secret meeting. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Oh.